Atlanta's #1 radio stations, Swanky 93.3 and The Heat 94.6 radio stations, has you covered. From our studios to our newsroom at K.L.P Entertainment. Listen on all major audio platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audacity, Apple Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, and more.
You've heard it said, he's a diamond in the rough. Or maybe, diamonds are forever. Here's something else I've learned about diamonds. They're just pieces of coal put under pressure for a long, long, long time. So when I start feeling like I want to give up, I think about that little piece of coal. And if that piece of coal can make something of itself by not giving up, so can I. Persistence is in you. Pass it on. From PassItOn.com.
K.L.P Aftermath with your host Kennedy Lucas brings out all the stops. Tune in to K.L.P Aftermath as we have stories, reviews, current events, and even our famous segment, Elephant in the Room. Inspired by the Breakfast Club's Donkey of the Day, K.L.P Aftermath with your host Kennedy Lucas streams on Atlanta's #1 radio station, Swanky 93.3 and The Heat's 94.6 radio station. Listen on all major audio platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audacity, Apple Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, and more.
He went without food, not to lose weight, but to help people lose generations of hate. While many around him rose up with violence, he sat down for peace. When others used religion as an excuse for war, he used it to remind them of love. Mahatma Gandhi made the world a far better place by reaching out with the strength he cultivated within his soul. Soul is in you. Now pass it on. From PassItOn.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet.
You are now tuned into Atlanta's hottest radio show.
Even the other stations are tuned in too.
K.L.P Aftermath. Swanky. With your host, Kennedy Lucas. On Swanky 93.3 radio stations. The Heat 94.6 radio station.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to another exciting podcast here today. This is the K.L.P Aftermath Season 6. Of course, with your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas. It is a wonderful June 12th. Of course, it is Monday. Glad to be back into the studio. Thank you guys for, staying tuned for this podcast. I'm always going to be, and I'm going to say this, Simone, every single time we wake up in the morning, I leave my house, right, and I dabble back into the city of Atlanta to get to the studio to perform a good podcast for you guys. So thank you again. Thank you everybody that stayed tuned for us. Thank you for everybody that's listening to us this morning. This is the K.L.P Aftermath Morning Radio Show, Season 6. I'm your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas. As always, I thank you guys. But of course, we've got Simone. She is in the studio. Simone, how was your weekend?
My weekend was pretty good, Kennedy. This was another weekend where it was a little bit more chill for me, right? We didn't get to go outside. We weren't outside so much this weekend, but it feels good. Sometimes when you're working the whole long week and it's the week where you need to take some time off and you really get to enjoy the time off that you need, I took advantage of this weekend because, as you guys know, we're here in Atlanta, and I want to say Saturday was good, but yesterday morning was a little bit rough because it started to rain yesterday morning, and then yesterday evening it kind of got to where the sun was kind of creeping out, and some things have happened, and I don't know, the weather here in Georgia is weird. It's humid, it's hot. Is interesting. It very is interesting how the weekend turned of events. Saturday was good. Everybody was out. I saw a lot of people out at Piedmont Park this Saturday. Well, Friday and Saturday. So that's exciting. That's always an exciting thing to see people outside and really enjoying their time And then Sunday, everybody's in bed, still in bed. I was in bed on yesterday up until about 12 o'clock in the afternoon because, it was a weekend where we didn't have too much going on. It was the weekend, and a lot of things have happened. But fully rested, ready to go for another exciting week. I know, Kennedy, you've had an amazing weekend, but for all you guys that don't know me by now, it's your girl, Simone Teags, ready for another podcast. Good morning, Atlanta, and good morning to our fan base. Our numbers, look, I'm going to be harping, Kennedy, I'm going to harp on our numbers a lot, but our numbers have been up. People have been listening to our show, and it's been spectacular. It's been a very, very spectacular thing to see our numbers grow, and as always, I'm glad to be part of the show. But Kennedy, you've had an extremely good weekend, I hear.
Yeah, Simone, I actually did have so this weekend was very, very good. So it feels good to not be in school for a week. As a lot of our fan base probably don't know this about me, about school, but yes, I am in grad school. And what my grad school does, when you pass a course, you get a week off from school, and then that next week you start back. Now, the graces of my online program, where I can kind of create my own schedule, if you will. So I can take about up to 4 courses at a time if I really wanted to. I'm running a company, so I don't really have a whole lot of time to devote. Now, if I just didn't have a job and didn't have bills to pay, I probably would have took advantage of and take 4 classes per semester. I would have been done way sooner. But as many people who's going out with their graduate program, their MBA, they take 1 class at a time because we work full time. So I was able to take a week off from classes and courses. So I didn't have any homework this week. Was fantastic. And work, besides everything else, has been tremendous. So to the point of that, I'm glad that this weekend was a weekend that I could just rest and not be so focused on work and not have to get things done over this past weekend. So I chilled. I went to the gym twice this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Very, very fantastic, because I've never done that before. Usually I do go 3 times a week, Simone, but this weekend I really didn't have nothing going on, or nothing big going on. So I was, grateful to go to the gym twice. Did a lot of gaming. I played, of course, Street Fighter 6, amazing game. I did play Star Wars The Jedi Survivor this weekend. And this another game that I popped back into my PlayStation 5 was the Saints Row 3 remaster, and I forgot how good that remaster was. So I started to dabble onto some gaming this weekend. Besides going to the gym, I did get a new iPad, so I'm very, very happy about that. I was able to get it, of course, under my one of my AT&T accounts, and I ended up getting the iPad, the case for it. And I ended up picking up an Apple Pencil too, because that stuff I can expense out for a business expense. So very, very excited. That was kind of the highlight of this weekend. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Called my parents, called my sisters, and it was a chill, very, very chill weekend. So it was very, very good. Weekends like this doesn't come that often, but it does come. I did have a business meeting, like a brief business meeting, this Friday, and I guess I'll go ahead and announce it, guys. Of course, if you haven't seen the latest SNN episode stream broadcast on Friday, yes, we have anchors coming in front of the camera nowadays. We did see Beatrice Gamma. She's finally in front of the camera. We did get some newer news anchors. That's part of the K.L.P Entertainment family, so I'm very, very excited for that acquisition that went through. And hopefully you guys like the new direction we're going with SNN. I love it. It's fantastic. The scripting is right. That's really, really cool. It's like taking SNN from K.L.P Entertainment. We're turning it up a notch. So I'm very, very excited for that. But that was basically it, Simone. I didn't have too much going on for the weekend.
Sounds like a fun weekend. It is just really more a chill weekend. But I do have a story, Kennedy. And look, maybe I'm chatty patty on this morning show, or I'm just gossiping. I don't know what it is. But I wanted to talk about this real quick, because as our fan base know we all work out. I work out, you work out, James and Tyrus, they work out, Monica worked out. So I mentioned Monica because Kennedy, you allowed Monica to, and I shouldn't say it like that because that's kind of wrong, but of course Monica left y'all's house Sunday, and you say, yeah, that's cool because you're gonna go to the gym with your brother. So I took Monica out the house, and we ended up going to the gym. Now we go to the same. We both go to Crunch. A lot of tidbit. A lot of our fan base don't know. We do all go to the same. We do go to Crunch. Sometimes we don't go to the same gym because we go at different times. So I remember you went with your brother early in the morning. Of course, later on yesterday, maybe like last night. Well, maybe it was last night. Me and Monica went to the gym, and it was just girls' night out. You wasn't there, and of course my boo wasn't there. Everybody. This was a girls' workout session, right? Because it was yoga. We coming up in there, and I see what you be meaning. I see what guys be meaning when, well, the good guys, where, certain women, and I'm not women shaming, because I'm a woman too. I'm not women shaming nobody here on the podcast or out there in the universe, but I can understand why guys get conflicted, right? Because I like to look good, right? I have my leggings on and my sports top. Monica had her leggings and her sports top, and we were looking cute, But there's this one girl that came into the gym. Kennedy, I kid you not. And I'm glad Monica was not with you when this happened, because she would have looked at you to say, let's see what Kennedy's doing. You being the respectful man, you're going to turn around and you're going to look the other way. This girl came to the gym with it was extremely short shorts, and I really thought she had nothing under there. I thought she just had a big t-shirt and panties. That's all I thought she had on. I looked to Monica, and Monica saw the same thing too. And we said, oh, man, if our men were here with us right now, they wouldn't know how to act. But I saw it, and I don't understand the type of women who dress like that, right? And again, I'm not woman shaming, but I'm just trying to understand, you're doing this because of some specific reason. Maybe it's part of your gear, maybe that's how you get your sweat off, but long behold, I'm wearing, if it's shorts, it's a little bit above the knee, but not super above the knee. Most of the time when we go in for yoga, me and Monica, we wear leggings. Right, that's one of the things we like to wear when we work out and get it in, get our yoga in and our women fitness in, right? But Kennedy, I understand, because you pod about this before, and this happened to us yesterday. We looked over and we was like, she's looking a little thirsty, ain't she? And her face was beat too. Face was filled with makeup. I was like, so are you really coming in for women's fitness, or are you trying to get somebody? You trying to get in somebody's bed? Right, again, not woman shaming, but it's very interesting with some of our women, see what they wear. And we saw it, and I just don't get it. I would dress appropriate for the gym, right? But I wouldn't be like that, because let me tell you, because if Kevin saw me, Kevin's my boo, by the way. A lot of people don't know that about me, but if Kevin saw this, he would have lost his shit. If I dressed like that and some dude tried to hit on me and Kevin was there, Kevin would have looked. He would have went in. Kevin.
Yes, folks. Let me express to you, because I met Kevin, obviously, when Simone got hired on for K.L.P Entertainment, and then she got hired on to be an MC. I had to meet Kevin, right? Because for a respectful thing, because obviously Simone, she's working with a male, and it's good to bring her boo around and say, hey Kevin, I'm her boss, but I mean, we all kind of collaborating on this. There's nothing else going on. She's my co-host, and she making her numbers pop, right? This is just business, right? So Simone's Kevin, shout out to Kevin if you're listening to this morning show, shout out to you, man. That dude big. I wouldn't want to mess with Kevin. Now, I'm not saying Kevin is a bodybuilder, but Kevin got he got the six pack. He got muscles, right? He made me like, he's actually one of my, besides me, because I've had many inspirations of my workout routine, but that dude is big, right? Like, I'm saying, if you piss him off, you look at him wrong, you out like a light. So I know Kevin personally, and I know that he would knock somebody out if someone came up to you, Simone, and started flirting with you. So shout out to Kevin, but I know I've seen Kevin. But it is true, I've had that happen to me, where I glance over real briefly now, because obviously Monica doesn't play that. Monica see me doing it, she'd be like, what you looking at? You need to be looking right here. So, it's very, very interesting with the gym workout routines, and we get it in with that for sure. So I'm always going to say health is wealth, but ladies, you ladies know what you're doing, trying to be fine at the gym and makeup and face beat and what else and what have you. So y'all know what y'all doing. Speaking of who knows what they doing, or maybe not, I don't know, we've got to talk about it. Now, I wanted to get this off my chest because the main topic of the episode, and I know I'm a little late to the game. I know a lot of podcasters, radio show hosts, Simone, they already reviewed their reactions about Summer Game Fest. I was going to do a reactions video on Saturday, but something came up and I couldn't get to the studio. I couldn't get this done on Saturday. And quite honestly, this weekend I just wanted a weekend to just rest, right? So that's why we're doing the reaction on Monday's episode. Summer Game Fest. And I'm going to be talking about the was it Friday or Thursday? One of them, the first day of Summer Game Fest, the one that Jeff Keighley kicked off. And I've been seeing it all over Twitter and Facebook, Simone, over this past weekend, that Summer Game Fest have not been what people were looking into. And I kind of agree. I really agree. I don't know if they made their mark for Summer Game Fest this year. It was highly anticipated and everybody was looking forward to Summer Game Fest simply because E3 did get canceled, right? So Summer Game Fest was the next best thing to keep it going. And we didn't really see a whole lot. With Summer Game Fest, there's a list of everything that got announced, but some of this stuff we kind of already knew about. But the games that we've gotten, they got a release date. We did get a new Sonic game, which I'll go in further into that as well. So the first thing, well, not really the first thing, but I'm just going by this list here, but obviously we know what the first thing was. So Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming in early 2024, and I'm really, really excited about this one because this is the continuation of the Final Fantasy VII Remake. When the Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, it was beautiful. I bought it day one. I really, really enjoyed it. It was fun. It was very, very interesting. And I played Final Fantasy before, Simone, but I haven't played Final Fantasy in a while. So when I dabbled back into it, playing Final Fantasy VII Remake and really enjoyed the game, I got the free upgrade for PlayStation 5. It was amazing. And to see that there's another continuation of this being the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming early 2024. I'm thinking February when this thing will be out. It's going to be good, right? Because the first remake, the first chapter was so amazing. It was really, really, it was long. Like, it was a whole lot you can do within the game. And, you know, I really love the different characters, the character development, the storyline. I'm happy about it, right? Now we get to see more. We get to play with Barrett, Aerith, Tifa, and then Red, and then of course with Cloud, and who knows, we might be playable to play against Sephiroth and see the continuation of that rivalry. So I'm very, very excited. Now you're exploring the worlds outside of Midgard. I do hope that we can come back to Midgard in this game. I love the open worldness, but I hope that this map is just tremendously big where there's a lot of things going on into this game. Very, very good. I will be getting this game early next year for PlayStation 5. The next game that got announced, which everybody was, look, I'm happy we got a release date, and I'm super excited that this game did not get delayed. But here's the gripe I got with Insomniac Games and Spider-Man 2. Now, Spider-Man 2, Simone, is coming out October 20th, 2023. I think that is a very superb idea, right? Because you gotta understand, everybody was rumored and everybody was hoping for September. I am super glad it's October. Let me tell you why. Because this game is competing. If it came out in September, you got Starfield, which you're going to talk about the Xbox showcase because you wanted to dabble on into that. But you got Starfield coming out in September 6th. You've got Mortal Kombat 1 coming out in September as well. This was a smart move from Insomniac to say, okay, we'll wait a month, because they don't want to compete with all these other games that's coming out in September. This game comes out in October, and there's not much coming out in October, so that we've heard so far. So this is where they're going to make their bag, and I think this was a superb idea. This was a very fantastic idea. Insomniac Games, they said this game is ready. It's going to be ready October 20th, which is great. I'm glad. Yes, I'm getting this game day one, obviously. It's going to be fun, but I don't understand, and maybe Summer Game Fest paid higher than the PlayStation Showcase, but why did we have to wait until the Summer Game Fest just to get a simple release date? That's the part I'm just like, okay, you didn't. So Summer Game Fest with Spider-Man, we didn't get to see any gameplay. For Game Fest, we didn't see none of the gameplay. We didn't dabble into no gameplay, no updates, no nothing. But they had the game director to say, "Hey, here's the release date. Okay, bye." I don't understand. I guess I'm not understanding why didn't they just do that at the PlayStation Showcase. Maybe Summer Game Fest paid them a lot of money to hold the announcement off. That's just my assumption. I'm glad we got a release date, but it just made no sense to me. I don't know. It just did not make any sense to me for that. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown is coming next year. That game looks good. That game looks really, really fun. It's a 2D platformer. I'm glad that they're reprising this franchise back. Prince of Persia has been a fantastic franchise back in the day, and then as of late, you haven't heard anything. Right, so I'm glad that this game is coming out, and they've got kind of a feel to it where you got this platformer who has a wicked cool hairstyle. By the way, it kind of gives me Black Panther, or Black Panther mixed with Kendrick Lamar's hairstyle within the main character of Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I like it. I like it. It's for the culture. I really like this game, and I don't see this game being $60, but then again, who knows? But I might pick this one up. Maybe later on when it goes on sale, simply because there's a lot of other games that's coming out that is more bigger, right? They did make this game up from the ground up, and it's coming January 2024. So it looks very fantastic. It looks fun. We did get to see a more extensive gameplay. This was the first thing, Simone, that they announced. Was Mortal Kombat 1 is bone crushing gameplay. This game is brutal. It is brutal. It's a lot. But I think this is where it works. It works for us Mortal Kombat fans. It's more grittier. It's more, you got to have the stomach for it, right? I wouldn't play this game while trying to eat something. I would just play this game and just understand what the game is. The gameplay looks good, 60 frames per second. The characters are fresh and revamped. I can tell that, and the game director or the creator did say, I think he said his name is Eric Boone, I think. He said in the Summer Game Fest that they're starting over. It's a new genre, it's a new era. but they're kind of starting over. Hence the name Mortal Kombat 1, right? We saw a trailer of Raiden and a younger version of Raiden, and you can really tell that all these characters are a little bit younger than what we know and what we remember from Mortal Kombat 11. Yes, I will be picking this up. This was smart that, Spider-Man gets a month, not delay, because it wasn't delayed. A month later release date for them, because this is their competition as Mortal Kombat 1, right? Because they know NetherRealm Studios, they're going to make a lot of money for this, because a lot of people will be picking this up for their systems, and it's grittier, it's different. I like it. I like the goriness of it. I can't wait to see how the story unfolds itself in this game. And we did get to see a very, very long gameplay for that. I do like it how you are creating it's like an echo fighter, but they call it a different thing in this game, where you can choose a backup character to kind of intervene in your match, in your fight, by pressing a simple button. They kind of do their move in there, and you can tag team that up. So very, very cool. I really, really like that idea. So Mortal Kombat got announced. Fortnite Wilds reveals Transformer crossover. Here's the thing that surprised me. Sonic Superstars has surprised me. I did not think we were going to get a new Sonic game this year. Because they're riding the train from Sonic Frontiers, right? And Sega's like, hey, we got Sonic Frontier, so that there you go. But at Summer Game Fest, Simone, Sonic Superstars gets an announcement, and it was very, very cool. Sonic Superstars is a new 2D classic Sonic game coming this year. This game looks fantastic. They're taking the classic Sonic formula again, right? And they're bringing it more into a 3D effect. I think Sega's realizing, Simone, that this is their moneymaker, is classic Sonic, right? Because if you look back at Sonic Mania was a hit. Here's the thing that everybody, and this is good too, because you can choose between Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, right? So I do appreciate that you can choose between more characters in a classic field. And towards the end of the trailer, you saw Fang and his starship thing. He's going to cross over to that 3D element, and we get to see what it looks like in 3D, because we never really got to see it, right? Very, very excited. I do think with this game, though, what would be cool, because you got to remember, there were more characters from the classic era, right? You had Team Chaotix from Knuckles Chaotix game. Team Chaotix was in the 2D field. That would have been cool if they brought them back. Will we see Bean and Bark? So Bark the Polar Bear and Bean the Dynamite. Will we see those two? Will we see Ray and Mighty the Armadillo? Will we see these characters into this game? I think this will be the icing on the cake if you're able to use all the characters, right? Because that's one thing I think with Sonic and Sega, they don't use every character, and I think they're not using all their IPs, and they miss out on that. Now, here's the gripe with that game, and we're gonna move on, but here's the gripe of that game that everybody is not happy with. Sonic Superstars is slated to be a $60 release. Look, Sega got to make their money somehow. But I can kind of understand why us gamers and people in the community are a bit upset about this. Because Sonic Mania released for $20 when it first came out. Obviously, I grabbed it because it was just $20, right? So everybody was upset now that this game probably most likely will be a $60 price tag attached to it, being that Sonic Mania was a $20 release. But you got to think about it, guys. Yes, this is a classic Sonic 2D game, but they're adding 3D elements into this, right? They're doing a lot of animation, sculpting, crafting each stage. I do hope this game is big enough for the $60 price tag. Now, if this game is short and you're charging $60, yeah, I can kind of see that. I can kind of see why gamers and people in the gaming community are upset about this. But you've got a classic Sonic, but he's more in 3D, right? You got the 3D stages. You've got all the characters, right? It costs money to animate Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. It's going to cost some money. So I don't know. Maybe it goes on sale for Christmas. I don't know, but we'll follow through and see what else they have to offer. I do hope that this game is big. I do hope they offer a lot of stuff within this game, along with the story mode. I do see it being a very popular thing with online service. So I look forward to it. I look forward to see what happens after that. But that was a huge surprise because I did not know that was coming. It just hit it. It just hit Summer Game Fest. I got to say that was really the highlight of Summer Game Fest was Sonic Superstars. That was like the only game that we were not expecting and we got, right? Alan Wake 2 gets a huge gameplay revealed. Alan Wake looks fantastic. This might not be a game for me specific, but it is good to see that this game is in fruition. I know a lot of Alan Wake fans prayed and hoped for part 2. I played part 1 and it was fun, but every game's not going to be for everybody, right? And I don't think this is a game that's for me specifically, but it's for pretty much everybody. The Like a Dragon gets a kind of an expansion to it. Like a Dragon is called Like a Dragon Gaiden, Simone, and this game it's a Yakuza game, so I'm not afraid of it. It's a Yakuza game. They're always fantastic. Star Trek Infinity gets announced. Not a fan. Towards the end though, we got a lot of games that were, I don't know, they were just kind of like. Not third party, but just like expansion to things and things that we just didn't really ask for, but they gave it to us, and that's why I'm scrolling through the list here. Street Fighter 6 Exo Primal. I thought this was not another new Street Fighter game, but I thought this would be a DLC for like a story mode, but this was kind of a partnership with another game, so everybody was like, oh, we didn't ask for it, but okay, thanks. Netflix shows The Witcher 3 The Witcher season 3 trailer. Thanks, but Nicolas Cage came on stage, Simone, and he's a great, phenomenal actor, but I don't play Dead by Daylight, so I was like, okay, didn't ask for that. Yeah, towards the end though, it just was a lot of games that I just didn't care for too much. A lot of indie, which is not, there's nothing wrong with indie, but we were just kind of hoping Summer Game Fest to be, the nail in the coffin, like the moment where we get a lot of stuff, and I don't know, I felt like we still just didn't get a whole lot of stuff. And it's cool, I guess. I mean, I don't know. And then Sandland, a new action game by Akira Toriyama and Bandai Namco. I thought that was a new Dragon Ball Z game, honestly. I think a lot of people, when they saw the trailer and they said from the creators of Dragon Ball, I thought this was going to be a new Dragon Ball Z game, but it was something completely different. Yeah, so my end verdict with the Summer Game Fest event, it was just, I don't know, it just wasn't hitting the way I remember it was. Usually Summer Game Fest and E3 was a game or was a season or was a festival and an event where we got some major titles, but it was just a whole bunch of what's called fillers, right? And that's the one thing that's lacking with a lot of these press conferences now, is simply because they're just filling the show, and it's just like, it's boring. We didn't ask for some of these games. Some of the games we already knew about. It's nothing new. So I don't know. That's just my take on it. Summer Game Fest for sure.
I agree with you, Kennedy. Seeing, Summer Game, because I got a glimpse of Summer Game Fest, and I wasn't too impressed as well. Some of the games we saw. Now, the only thing I'm impressive, I saw Mortal Kombat 1 looks phenomenal, right? And I think that was their heavy hitter. Like you said, Sonic Superstars was a complete surprise for a lot of us gamers and gaming community. Spider-Man. I didn't understand the Spider-Man concept, because we've got an animated video of the release date. I agree. They could have just announced that at at PlayStation Showcase, right? Because if you remember, PlayStation Showcase, we saw gameplay of Spider-Man. That was the heavy hitter of the show, but we didn't get a release date. So in our minds, we're thinking, okay, Summer Game Fest, they're going to show us a little bit more, plus a release date. At Summer Game Fest, they just showed us release date. And I said, they could have announced that at the PlayStation Showcase. Why? There is between PlayStation Showcase and Summer Game Fest kickoff, it's about a week and a half. So I don't understand why they didn't just announce it at PlayStation Showcase. But maybe you're right, Kennedy. Maybe Summer Game Fest paid more just to get that release, just to get the viewership up. But I agree. We didn't get to see a whole lot of content. We didn't get to see anything new. So that's why a lot of people in the gaming community said that, Summer Game Fest was a waste of time, because we were expecting some games that are new, whether they're in development or not. This is what's coming up next in the next year, but we got a bunch of fillers. And that's where people get frustrated with these press conferences and these showcase, because if you're just going to sell us on fillers, we're not interested. We're interested in the good stuff. We're interested in the big stuff. Now we move forward a couple of days later. Now Xbox's turn. And the last radio show we did, Xbox has some big shoes to fill. And I feel like when it came down to the Xbox showcase, we kind of got some fillers, but we kind of didn't. So this was the game showcase and the Starfield Direct. So the heavy hitter was Starfield. That's what everybody was anticipating. We did get games like Still Waits the Deep, South of Midnight. Those games are cool. I mean, it's a game. Those are just, I don't know. For me, those are games that I just never would get into. But maybe somebody will get into those type of games. We did get the first story missions. Invasion is the name of it. Now, this is very interesting. So from Overwatch 2 is getting its first story missions and tease a new hero. I think they're still trying to chug away at Overwatch 2 because Overwatch 2 just did not do well in sales. So they're trying everything to kind of revamp. I'm glad that Overwatch is getting a story mode, because that would be something that people will be very, very interested in. I am here for the online play and playing against online, but to get us really interested into Overwatch, story mode, right? To really get us intrigued in that. So can't wait to see what that looks like. Like I say, we didn't see too much. We saw, Like a Dragon sequel, from Xbox. That was cool. I mean, there's not too much going on there. It's a Yakuza game, so the Yakuza games are gonna, like you say, they're gonna be good. Persona has 2 new games coming to Xbox. Very, very excited for that. Persona is coming out there for sure. Xbox announces the new black Xbox Series X with 1 terabyte of storage for $349, so that's good. Keanu Reeves was on the press conference and he announced the Phantom Liberty's action-packed new trailer. It was a new trailer. That game looks amazing. I'm glad that CD Projekt Red is coming back and trying to fix this game. And they did. For the most part, they did. And this was the expansion pack that Idris Elba is in it in this expansion pack. So that's always cool to see amazing artists and amazing actors come into the video game world. Like you mentioned, Nicolas Cage. Again, Motorsport, it has a fall release date. Again, that game looks amazing. They're using Cadillac as their next superstar car, so that's good. Swanna's, I probably butchered that. Swanna's Saga Hellblade 2. Again, a game we kind of already knew, but I'm excited for this one because they did use Unreal Engine and they did use MetaHuman Creator, and they tested the animator for Unreal Engine. Can't wait for us to get that as well. We got Flight Simulator 2024 has hot balloons, skydive, aviation, and much more. Those games are really, really fun to play. Star Wars Outlaws, that's a tongue twister. They're gonna be getting that game, and it was more of a cinematic type of trailer, so we didn't get to see any form of gameplay, but this is developed by Ubisoft, and I guess they got an exclusive deal with Xbox. I would love to see this for PlayStation, but as of right now, it's only for Xbox. And the last game that got announced was Starfield. Starfield is slated for September 6th, and as you mentioned, Kennedy, this was smart for Insomniac Games to push back, and this is not a pushback because they didn't get, this was just their release, but Spider-Man is coming out in October. So just imagine trying to compete with Mortal Kombat and Starfield with Spider-Man 2, right? There's just too many games coming out, would have came out that month, so I'm glad that they say, okay, Spider-Man October, so Starfield can have their release of September 6th. And that was the heavy hitter. It looks good. I am very hesitant to see what this game looks like on, let's say if this game, and I think this game is coming out for Game Pass. I'm very skeptical about how this game will look if you try to stream it directly from Game Pass. I think this will be a game much like Halo. It will perform better once you download it from Game Pass onto your system instead of trying to stream it. Because of the latency, and the resolution might drop, and the frame rate might drop as well if you're trying to stream it right from Game Pass. But I don't know. Xbox has some good things coming out. We just got to see the scores, and Xbox really need these games to work because, again, they've had previously, for an example, Redfall being a game that just did not hit well. So now they're trying to retract and say, hey, we need a heavy hitter, right? And Starfield is the one. So again, when that game comes out in September, we'll track the score. Of course, IGN probably going to give it a score, and we'll have the final verdict on that. But Starfield, it looks amazing. First-person shooter. You're exploring in space. It's good. It's good.
That's true. I think a lot of developers are just understanding the pressure, right? Because like if people like to believe it or not, we are in a recession, right? So a lot of people are very cautious about, a lot of developers and publishers, they're cautious about the pricing on these games because they got to make their money back, right? To avoid any loss. But in the same time, people in the gaming community are watching what they buy because these are, $60, $70, $80 a game pop, right? Spider-Man 2, they got a Legacy Ultimate Edition where you get a figurine, and that's $229, right? So I think a lot of people are being kind of cautious about these games, and that's why we, as podcasters, we talk about these games, we review these games and stuff, because that's the market, right? If you're going to charge us, we want the best of the best. And that's why we feel that, when we see these showcases and, the showcases are not hitting, that's our mindset, because we invest our money into these companies and these developers. And, when we get fillers and nothing new, then we get frustrated. I'm not frustrated, but people in the gaming community gets a little frustrated, right? I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird time. It's a weird time indeed. But coming up next, we got Addison Hayden up in the studio, back, of course, as she got some news about Freddie Gibbs and Azealia Banks. Addison, what's going on?
Freddie Gibbs loves a good viral moment, and the Indiana rapper has now reshared a viral Azealia Banks diss track created in response to her recent comments about D.C. Young Fly's late partner Jackie O. On Thursday, June 8th, comedian Dre George, who goes by 90baby_Dre on Instagram, took to Instagram to share a diss track towards the controversial rapper. "Bitch, did you just compare your birthday to the age in which this man's wife deceased?" he said. "You disrespect, go to the next slide. I'm about to disrespect the hell out of you with a song." In the next slide, George roasts Banks alive, mostly making references to her forehead, which he deems to be oversized, but also managing to sneak in a Men in Black reference by dissing her body, calling her a Men in Black crit-ass bitch. I love comedy, and you came for my boy at Sighing Fly at the wrong time at Azealia Banks Forever, he wrote. You tried to capitalize and get some clout off a grieving family, so now it's my turn in the studio. You still mad about some *T that happened 4 years ago, that you went on. Ain't nobody force you to go up there. At Emtivildnout is the wrong place to show if you don't have thick skin, but disrespecting this man at a time like this over a joke, 4 years ago, yeah. At Mercedes-Benz need to hit wire DM shorty. Freddie Gibbs then took to his Twitter account to share a snippet of the song on Saturday, June 10th. Vibranium head bitch laughing face emoji, he wrote in the caption, referencing one of the song's lyrics. The diss track was made in response to comments Banks made on Wednesday, June 7th, shortly after Jackie O's passing, in which she appeared to be celebrating her death. Damn DC young fly spent years disguising his own deeply rooted hatred of self as jokes pointed at women's beauty, projecting his own ugliness onto women perfectly secure in their own skin, she wrote. Say what you want about my tears. They were pure tears of rage, and not at all a sign of weakness. She continued, because in the end, I won. I'm happy I cried and moved on. That Jackie O girl must have been so deeply insecure about herself. And the nerve of DC to call such a gorgeous woman as Azealia Banks ugly on national television while a bunch of black people laughed. And ironically, dead at 32 exactly on my 32nd birthday, May 31st, 2023, in Miami, Florida. You NGGAS are going to learn to stop fucking with me. The backlash against Banks was swift, with one person calling her an ugly bitter as human being and saying they hope she burns in hell.
She's actually on her way to being canceled. She did some stuff about, and I'm not going to repeat it on this show, but a lot of people have some choice words for Azealia Banks. She made a dagger, if you will, towards the late great Miss Jackie O, who recently passed away. And Jackie O was the girlfriend of DJ Young Fly, and they had 3 kids together. We all know that story, right? And I kind of agree with the report. A lot of podcasters, a lot of radio show personnel, the ones that I listened to previously, of course, obviously the Joe Budden podcast, Joe, Queen's Flip, Ice and Ish, and Mel, the Joe Budden podcast, they've had their choice words about it. That too, they said it was very distasteful and a bit of disgraceful for her to take advantage of somebody and something that, from somebody who recently passed away. And of course, DJ Young Fly, being a celebrity, comedian, artist that he is, he's grieving, and you use that as a dagger to make yourself go viral and to make yourself be successful in what you got going on. I do not condone people and celebrities, right? Because she's more celebrity than I am, right? But it is true, it's a bit distasteful when you use somebody's death and misfortune and death to profit, right? I don't understand it. I don't get it. So she's on her way to possibly being canceled. So that's just how it is. Coming up next, Arthur Brooks got a short sports news before we wrap up today's podcast. Arthur, what's going on, man?
Lucas Zelleryan came up with a ridiculous game-winning goal on Saturday night in Chicago. The Columbus Crew star whipped out a wild goal from behind the midfield line to lift them past the Chicago Fire in stoppage time. The goal was from almost 61 yards out, and will undoubtedly be in contention for the best goal scored in Major League Soccer all season. The goal was Zelleryan's second from behind 50 yards in the past 2 seasons. He scored one from just more than 56 yards out in October. Cucho Hernandez scored first for the Crew in the 59th minute on Saturday night, which gave them a 1-0 lead. Chicago's Xherdan Shaqiri then tied the match up in the 88th minute with a goal of his own. Zelleryan has scored 8 times in 15 starts so far this season, his 4th with the Crew. Columbus holds an 8-3-6 record, which puts it in 6th in the Eastern Conference standings.
Now, thank you, Arthur, by the way, I'm sorry. Now, before we close out our podcast today, of course, I do have a must watch list, Simone, and this one's kind of short, because I only watch episode 1, but I wanted to voice this show out there. Class of '09 is a good show from FX. New series starring Kate Mara and Brian T. Henry, along with Sapita Mofia and Brian Smith, Jake McDormand and Brooke Smith, and so many more cast members. Now, even though Rotten Tomatoes gave this show a 62%, but that's Rotten Tomatoes, it's hard to try to please them as well. I really enjoy this show. It is a show that I really recommend people watching. If you have Hulu, or if you have cable and you watch it live on FX, by all means. But if you do have Hulu, this is available on Hulu. Now, Class of '09, of course, is a suspenseful thriller limited series. Class of '09 follows a class of FBI agents that set 3 distinctive periods in time who grapple the immersiveness changes as the U.S. criminal justice system is altered by artificial intelligence spanning multiple decades in total across interweaving timelines. Of course, the series examines the nature of justice, humanity, and the choices that people make that ultimately define their lives and legacy. The series stars, of course, Teo. Teo is played by Brian Tyree Henry, one of the most unorthodox agents to ever join the Bureau, and Poet, one of the most successful undercover agents of all time. Poet is played by Kate Mara. Kate Mara played in so many other great titles as well. Like I say, I'm only on episode 1, and I dabbled into it. I recommend people watching it, giving it a great spin. It's a great show that everybody's been watching. And of course, I wanted to read a great review, 5 stars. This was 4 weeks ago, so I know I'm a little bit late to this game of this show. This show just popped up on my list. There's so many other shows out right now, but they say this is the top review. The FX series Class of '09 smartly layers the past, present, and future in telling the story, introducing viewers to only 2 timeline frames in which the first 5 minutes made everything that happened in these first 2 episodes easier to absorb. Kate Mara's performance as Poet is so good that you are easily pulled into the third time frame, present 2023, without feeling disruptive. Now, I did hear a lot of people that watched this episode or this series, Simone, that you really kind of just have to pay attention, right? You have to just pay attention to the show to really make sure you understand what's going on. Again, Class of '09, give it a shot. Let me know what you think. Let us know what you think. I'm only on episode 1, but I probably, when I leave the studio today, I'm going to watch more of this show to give my in-depth review from FX. Brian Tyree Henry, is always good to see him doing stuff. If you guys don't know, he's probably busy right now. He plays Jefferson Davis in the Miles Morales Across the Spider-Verse, so he's booked and busy. But congratulations to everybody that's a part of that show. That's going to wrap it up here on this show this morning, the K.L.P. Aftermath Morning Show, Season 6. Your hosts, Simone Teags and K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas. Simone, has been a pleasure, as always, this morning. Stay tuned for SNN, as we got more news coming from SNN, and we'll be right back here on the studio, of course, on Wednesday morning to give you guys another exciting podcast episode. Until then, that's going to wrap it up here on K.L.P. Aftermath Season 6. I've been your host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas. As always, I like to say, stay safe, stay swanky, peace.